point. Now, the past few weeks have been awash with reports of a brewing bitter dispute between ODM leader Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto, who claims Raila is leading a conspiracy to have him ejected from the Jubilee Party. Tonight on House of Cards, our political affairs reporter Murimi Mwangi retraces the Raila-Ruto suspicions back to 2002 and explains why Ruto's tactical move to support a referendum could send Odinga's ODM party back to the drawing board in the roadmap to the 2022 polls.
You could call him a hard campaigner or the shrewd political tactician of the time.
I know what I'm doing, my friend.
But less than a year into President Uhuru Kenyatta's final term, his deputy, William Ruto, it appears, has found his match. Opposition leader Raila Odinga, whom Ruto now claims could be doing warm-up to dance on his political grave, beginning allegedly with an elaborate scheme to turn Ruto into a squatter within his own Jubilee party long before the 2022 polls.
Nataka niwaambie, hamuwezi kunifukuza ODM ati mkanifuata ati mnanifukuza Jubilee. Haiwezekani.
Wanapiga kelele, wanabweka kama umbwa kwa sababu ya ile mtetemeko ya vita dhidi ya ufisadi.
But just what are Ruto's suspicions on Raila? Well, analysts believe the two masters of shrewd and at times rough political maneuvers are separately repackaging themselves as the 2022 presidential frontrunners. Since Odinga's March 9th cooperation deal with President Kenyatta, Ruto had emerged as the face of the anti-referendum bandwagon in what analysts believe could have been Ruto's own strategy to establish a 2022 political think tank anchored on a no vote against any likely referendum before the 2022 polls. But that was only until Ruto's surprise weekend about turn on the referendum debates. In a move observers argue now sends Odinga's ODM strategists back to the drawing board on how to counter Ruto.
We have no issue with the referendum, but we have issues with conmanship and deceit. If you tell us that it was agreed in the handshake that there will be a mass referendum, that is not true.
His outbursts are limited to his obsession with the 2022 elections. And I think, in my very humble opinion, and in the goodness of this nation, and if God can hear us, he should give us any other president other than William Ruto.
When the DP said, actually, you want to chase me out of Jubilee, what he actually meant is that you want to break Jubilee completely and make sure that Jubilee doesn't exist, because that is the intention. You know, like the Bible says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. We must warn our people.
Come 2022, I think it is Raila or Ruto. They can't like each other, definitely. They want the same girl, and only one man can marry her. And she's a beautiful girl, as you can see. So there's no way they can be in love.
But the Ruto-Raila suspicions are not new to the Kenyan political scene. Shortly after his tactical crossover to the Independence Party KANU and his subsequent accession to the post of Secretary General in 2002, Odinga documents in his memoir that Ruto, then as KANU's director of elections, strategically picked two rooms adjacent to Raila's KICC office and demolished the partition between them to get ample space to spy on Raila. And in the aftermath of the disputed 2007 polls, Ruto had to settle for Minister of Agriculture as Raila picked then fellow member of the five-man ODM Pentagon, Musalia Mudavadi, as his deputy prime minister, despite Ruto having delivered more presidential votes and parliamentary seats than Mudavadi.
International Criminal Court is now in session.
Suspicions which only 3 years later would intensify with Ruto's indictment for crimes against humanity charges at the International Criminal Court over the 2007 post-poll chaos. A bitter suspicion that now appears to have returned full swing with Odinga's March 9th cooperation deal with Ruto's boss, President Kenyatta.
You remember we had President Uhuru Kenyatta tell Raila, nusu mkate, hakuna. Hata slice moja, hakuna. But when appointment comes, you see guys from the ODM are the first to get the first cake.
Is there anyone who has been dismissed from William's side and anybody from our side given any position in government? That's not true. And appointments in government are not taken as Raila's people, Uhuru's people, or Ruto's people. They are given on a meritocracy.
Jicho yetu ya kisiasa is open. Sisi tukirala tunafuga jicho moja, ile ingine tumefugua. Na tunaambia Raila Odinga, there is no chance, there is no space for him to come and do what he does best. That is breaking big political parties.
Call it handshake repos or referendum and state house entry jitters, but the Ruto-Raila friction is no doubt bound to intensify as the clock ticks fast to the 2022 polls.